Wow, thanks so much, Mary, for that video, and especially for directing me back to Richard Tarnas's book, The Passion of the Western Mind. Um, the second to the last chapter about romanticism and its fate um, is something I haven't read in a while, and I read the section that you quoted from on 380, 383. Page 383, and this is very important. And I look forward to studying with Richard Tarnas. He's a professor at CIIS. Actually, I'm not sure if you're aware of that. Um, but as far as uh, you know, systems theory really being the inroads into being able to synthesize all these ideas, I think you're exactly right about that. It opens up a lot of doors, and it shows the necessity to have a comprehensive view of reality. Um, you need not only a scientific, but also a humanistic perspective, because a comprehensive view includes both empirical facts and intuitive values and meaning and purpose. Um, as far as what got me thinking that Varela and Whitehead uh, might be somehow related, or that there's this underlying connection between their thought, I think it was trying to work out what it is on a metaphysical level that an activism, or Varela's understanding of cognition, was saying about the world that we typically think of as out there. Is there a world out there? Which obviously, Varela fully acknowledges the role of the environment in helping to constitute and define the boundary of the organism itself. So obviously there's an environment, but when it comes to the organism, whether it's a cell, a dog, or a human being, how does that organism come to know the world, and what is it that they know? And it's easy from within an activism to kind of talk yourself into this epistemological solipsism where all you can know is what your own structure and organization allows you to know. So there's this great sense of, on the one hand, being limited, cut off from, the world out there, from the object. But then there's another sense in Varela's thought where he emphasizes the extent to which we become with others together, with other beings, and that we, in fact, that our own personal consciousness, our own sense of individuality arises out of our mutual intersubjective relations, and that those relations are primary, and our individuality is a derivative which emerges from those relations. So there seems to be this conflict there, and it needs further explication, or it needs to be systematized somehow, so that, just for my own sake, I can understand better what really is being said here. And Whitehead's metaphysics seem to help us fill in these gaps. Because, in philosophy, with the scientific revolution, the philosophers like Hume and Kant, taking after Descartes, they really took this skeptical attitude, where the subject was very distant from the object and could only know it partially, if at all. And so there's this division erected between the human subject and the world, this division erected between the humanities, spirituality, religion, um, meaning, purpose, value, and science, or our factual understanding of the mechanics of the world itself. Um, and this has continued right up to today, and it seems it's like a violent opposition between the scientists and the technicians and the spiritual, um, artistic, more religious, or you know, there's just this huge gap between these two different kinds of people, um, and it leads intelligent people to say crazy things like morality is completely subjective. It doesn't have any grounding. Doesn't really matter. You know, you can pretty much do whatever you want, and if you don't do whatever you want, it's only because your emotional state is such that you're a little more balanced. So that's good, but otherwise, you know, morality has no basis in reality, and nature itself doesn't have a value other than the value we give it or take from it. And so, of course, with this metaphysical background, we end up with a consumerist culture that's shallow and vacuous and completely decimating the planet's ecological systems, because there's just no sense of respect for it. It's just matter that needs human ingenuity to make it into something worthwhile. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. And I guess dealing with these issues is what brought me to try to synthesize Whitehead with Varela's science, because Varela represents what, for me, what the new paradigm in the sciences hopefully will look like. And I think to have that new science, we need a new metaphysics, and Varela didn't talk much about metaphysics. But when you don't lay that new metaphysical foundation, as Whitehead attempts to do, you end up confusing other people, because your way of describing reality is so foreign to their the way that they're used to understanding it, that you just, it's right over their heads. You're not communicating with them because they're starting from a different basis. And so until we lay the basis, the foundation, until we erect a metaphysical system that is in alignment with the type of science that Varela wants us to bring forth, it ends up confusing more people than it stimulates, and people don't understand. They just reject it because they think it's completely bizarre. So I'm really just trying to clarify both of these philosophies, or this philosophy of Whitehead and the science of Varela, so that more people can understand them, understand the value in them, and hopefully just further their development and the use that people, communities, scientists put them to. So definitely appreciate your video, Mary, and it's great to see other people interested in these ideas. I hadn't even thought about working Gebser into all this, Gene Gebser, but you sparked my interest in that as well. But I better just stick to these two thinkers, Whitehead and Varela. I'll get in over my head. But yeah, thanks for listening, and thanks for your video. Take it easy.